Perfect. All right, so my name is Brandon Collins, and I am the mustard sommelier for Maille North America, which again means that I get to play around with a lot of great mustard, have great food, and do great things. My wife just laughed at that. That was funny. So today we're talking about our newest baby, our Mike's Hot Honey Mustard. This is absolutely insanely delicious. Partnering with a brand like Mike's Hot Honey, which if you're not in the Northeast may not be as prevalent, but definitely in the Northeast it is everywhere. It is absolutely killer. It is some of the best spicy honey that you can buy. Actually, I think it's the best spicy honey you can buy. And then we pair it with our amazing Dijon, which again, it's like a match made in heaven, right? Two great brands that have great quality, looking to make a great product. And I mean, in all honesty, I used to take it and mix it together by myself anyway, so now that it's already done for me, even better. And we just launched this on Wednesday. We were at L'Industrie in Brooklyn, which is an amazing pizzeria, absolutely killer stuff. And they did a great pork sandwich. So they basically braised pork sandwich like a peroni, but they seasoned it like a porchetta. And then braised it, shredded it, doused this on their amazing house-made bread, some pickled peppers. It was absolutely insane, and it's also really good on top of their strawberry and hazelnut gelato as well. So, let's see here, Carolyn, where do I find it besides Amazon? As of right now, it is only on Amazon, but there will be other outlets soon enough, and as I see, we are responding to that at this moment in time as well. So, that being said, let's go ahead and get started about what we are going to make today. So today we are going to make a flatbread. We're going to make our own ricotta. We're going to do that sous vide. We don't have to do it sous vide, but that's how we're going to do it today. And we're going to use the whey from the ricotta to make our flatbreads. And then on top of that, we're going to do some sauteed butternut squash and Brussels sprout leaves as well. We're going to put a little lemon zest on top of it, a little bit of salt and pepper, and a whole lot of our Mike's Hot Honey Dijon mustard. So, what we are going to do first is we are going to talk about our ricotta. So, in my immersion circulator, in my bath, I have, at 172 degrees Fahrenheit, the milk has been in there for an hour. So I have 2 cups of milk to a pinch of salt. Now, put as much salt in it as you want, but make sure that your milk is not ultra pasteurized. If it is, it will not curdle on you, which is what we need it to do. So I'm going to go and pull that out. I have it in a Ziploc bag. Again, 172 degrees. You want it in there for about 45 minutes. You want the milk itself to come to 145 or 172 degrees. So I've got this hot milk in here. Now to this, I am going to add 2.5 tablespoons of lemon juice. Now you can use distilled white vinegar. You can use apple cider vinegar if you want. That is up to you. I like the flavor of lemon. I think it adds a beautiful flavor. Now we're just going to mix this up a little bit. You'll notice that it starts to curdle on you almost instantly. Now I'm going to put this right back into my water bath at 172 degrees Fahrenheit for about 15 minutes, and that acid will start to break down the milk and start to curdle it. Just basically take away that fat from the whey, so that way we'll have this beautiful cheese in about 15 minutes, which is awesome. So now, whenever we do that, we're going to get whey. And whey is basically just the liquid that sands the milk fat, right? So we are going to take that and we are going to add it to make our beautiful flatbreads that we're going to make. Now, you can easily buy flatbreads store-bought, whatever you want. If you'd like, perfectly fine. That was the original plan. But we're going to do it this way. So in here, I have 2 cups of flour. I have a teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of sugar, and a teaspoon of baking powder. To that, I have added my 1.25 cups of whey and 2 tablespoons of butter that I have brought to a boil. So this is going to be similar to like a scallion pancake or something along that line. It's going to be a hot water dough, which makes it a little bit more elastic and a little bit more fun to play around with. And to that, we are also going to add, there's my open one, a 1.5 tablespoons of the Mike's Hot Honey Dijon. And that is going to be there for flavor and also to kind of add a little bit of spice and a little bit of kind of funkiness to it as well. So once you start getting it stirred up a little bit, right in 1.5 tablespoons. This stuff's like liquid gold, don't overuse it. I've already gone through, I think, 3 bottles already, and we just launched it on Wednesday. So, not to mention the ones that I went through prior to us launching it. So, it's a new slight addiction of mine, and it's beautiful. It's nice. It's got a light spice to it. It's got the spiciness of the Dijon as well, which I think one of the things that is really cool about it is that you get differing kinds of heat, right? You're not getting all one-sided heat. You're getting different types of heat. You're getting a chili pepper heat, and you're getting that Dijon kind of, for lack of a better term, horseradishy or mustard heat that you get, right? So I've mixed it basically until it starts to form a dough, and then right out here onto the cutting board. It is going to be a little warm. Make sure that it's cooled down enough that you can handle it so that you do not burn yourself. And basically what we're going to do is we're just going to work this dough until it gets smooth. I put a little bit of flour down to try to make sure that it's not going to stick on us. And again, we just want to make sure that this gets worked until it's smooth. We don't want to overwork it, but we also don't want to underwork it, right? Because we want to make sure that we have the texture that we need is going to hold up for us. It's starting to get a little sticky, so I'm going to put a little bit more flour in there just to make sure that it gets nice and smooth for us. All right, so again, we're going to have that nice hot honey Dijon in the dough itself, right? We're also going to be putting it on top of the flatbread. Now we can do it a couple of different ways. We could mix it right into the ricotta that we made, right? We could make like a whipped ricotta with the Maille's hot honey Dijon. That is definitely something that we could do. We could spread it on the dough itself. We can just put it in drops on top of it. We can do all 3. I mean, like I said, once you start digging into this, it's absolutely delicious. One of the other things that I've made with this that's really, really good is I take sourdough bread, toast it, roast some cauliflower, toss the cauliflower in this Maille's hot honey Dijon, a couple slices of fresh mozzarella, and just put that right onto some bread, obviously right onto the toasted sourdough, right? You can do it as a sandwich. You can do it as a little, like a tartane type thing. It's absolutely killer with just ham and cheese, right? Awesome on pizza. Like the stuff at L'Industrie is absolutely insane. So if you're ever in Williamsburg, get a chance to shoot down there and have some killer pizza. But also at the same time, make sure you have some hot honey Dijon with you as well to play around with it. It's absolutely killer. So I've got my dough, and you can see it's nice and smooth, right? It's still soft, but it's nice and smooth, right? So we're going to make sure that we put this right in here. And I have some that I've already done. Basically, after that sets for about 20 minutes, you're going to break that dough in half, and you're going to cut it into 6 balls. So you're going to have these little balls, right? I'm going to put a little bit of flour down as my ricotta is still cruising right along. And then basically, you just want to create the flatbread, right? So you can use a roller. I am not nearly as good with like pizza doughs and stuff as I should be. I have other members of my family that are much better at this than I. So again, we're just going to roll this out. Try to make it whatever shape you want. You can make it long, rectangle, round. I'm going to kind of go for a round. I have my flat top working as well. My flat top's getting nice and warm. I'm going to make these fairly thin. Now, I could easily pop these in the oven on a pizza stone. I am not going to do that. I'm going to do them right here on my flat top, just like I would like a pita or something along that line. So my flat top is nice and warm. This is going to go right down and start toasting away. All right, so I'm going to do one more of these guys, and then we're going to make our butternut squash and our Brussels sprout leaves. And we're also going to be checking on our cheese here in 1 second, because that should be getting fairly close as well to being curdled and ready to go. But again, absolutely killer. And you can literally do anything with this. It's great with just pretzels, honestly. Like some great pretzels or a charcuterie board. Again, anything that you would have used honey mustard for previously, but with a little bit of a kick, right? It's going to give you that little bit of extra kind of oomph to it as well. So, We have the flatbread working. Our cheese is curdling and doing what it needs to do. Now we are going to cook off our Brussels sprout leaves and our butternut squash. So butternut squash, I just did a little small dice. Nothing crazy at all. Just making it, again, whatever size works for me, but you also want to make sure that it's small enough that whenever you get a bite into it, it's not going to like fall apart on you, or it's not going to fall off, or that it's going to weight everything down. On top of the simple fact that you want to make sure that it fits in your mouth, right? At the end of the day. So we're going to start cooking that off first. Now again, you don't have to use butternut. You can use spaghetti, you can use acorn, kabocha. You don't have to use any squash at all. You can use peppers, roasted peppers, asparagus. Again, anything is going to be really, really, really killer with this as well. So we're toasting our flatbreads off, letting those cook right along. Put a little bit more oil down so that way I can start this other guy. And I'm very excited about this. And again, making sure that we're utilizing that whey and not just dumping it down the drain, right? Trying to make sure that we use that up as well. But like I said, feel free to use a flatbread of your choosing, or a pizza dough, or whatever you get at the grocery store, whatever works best for you. All right, so I'm just throwing these guys into some oil. Super quick and easy. We're not going to overcook them. We're just going to cook them until they get a little tender. We want to have some texture on the outside, right? And make sure that they have that kind of little bite to them. We're not looking for anything to be super, super tender. And then we're also going to do some beautiful Brussels sprout leaves as well. So let's check on my cheese over here. It's still doing its thing. It's getting very, very close. It's getting there. Give it a couple more minutes just to make sure that we have it done correctly. I'm just cooking these guys off real fast. I'm going to flip this flatbread over again. I didn't cook it enough on one side. And again, super quick, right? I'm not looking to cook these all the way through. I want there to be some texture in this. Whenever I go and push it down, there's a little bit of a bite, but I still can like push it through, right? And that's what we're looking for. It's still got a good texture to it, still holds its shape, but if I actually put a little bit of pressure on it, it does start to kind of smush and break down, which is exactly what I'm looking for. So those were not in there for very long at all. Now for our Brussels sprout leaves, exact same thing. Now I'm using olive oil for this, just because from a flavor standpoint, that is kind of what I'm looking for. I could use avocado oil if I wanted to, and I know that I normally do, but for this, we're using some olive oil. Put my ring back on so that way I don't get yelled at. And all right, Brussels sprout leaves right into hot oil. Because this is a texture thing, we want to kind of brown these guys up as well. We don't want to overcrowd that pan. Be very careful, they're going to pop on you. So you kind of want to stay a little bit away from it in case they do start to pop on you. And splash a little bit of hot oil on you. That's never a pleasant feeling. Flatbreads are almost done. Oh, beautiful. I'm going to hit these guys with a little bit of salt and pepper. Again, we don't need to do a ton because we have this hot honey mustard, we have this amazing ricotta that we're making. Beautiful. That's exactly what we're looking for. These nice kind of browned Brussels sprout leaves. Absolutely killer. Let's get set up for whenever we actually pull our cheese out. We can move our roller over here. I've missed you guys. I've been on the road so much. I haven't got to spend a lot of time with you guys, and I'm very excited to be back. I'll definitely be back next week as well as we get ready for the holidays. And for those who have already been celebrating their holidays, happy holidays. All right, so one of our flatbreads are done. This guy's almost ready to go. So we have our Brussels sprouts, and again, we're just looking for a nice little bit of color, right? Just till they're done. Absolutely killer. Ready to rock and roll. Let's check on this cheese. let's see here. There we go. It's starting to break down a little bit, but you know what? It hasn't completely separated. We'll pull a little bit of it out. That way we can at least see it. We'll probably spend a little bit more time. Whew, that's a little hot. We'll be able to spend a little bit more time in the heat, but we'll drain a little bit of this off right now. So that way we can see what it looks like. And then we'll put this guy back in. All right, so as it starts to drain, you will notice how all of those curds are staying up in the basket, right? And that's exactly what we're looking for. We're going to let that sit and drain for about 10 to 15 minutes until all of that whey kind of comes out of it. And what you're going to end up with is this. You're going to end up with this beautiful, kind of awesome ricotta, right? And now, from here, we're going to give it a taste. And now we can start making some decisions on how we want to play with this. So, again, here's another flatbread. Absolutely beautiful, perfect texture, perfect color, right? Not looking for anything crazy. Now, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit down on the actual flatbread itself, because you can never do too much. We're going to do two different ones. We'll do it two different ways. So a little bit down here on the flatbread, kind of spread that around a little bit. We're going to take this beautiful ricotta that we just made. Still nice and hot. That flatbread is beautifully hot. The ricotta will hold for a couple days. It's a fresh cheese, so you want to go through it rather quickly. So it's either, you know, add a day or two. Like, try not to hold on to it for too long. Again, you don't want to play with it. It'll go bad on you very quickly. So some of this beautiful butternut squash that we've just cooked off. It's got a good texture to it, right? And then some of these great Brussels sprout leaves across it. Again, a nice, beautiful little fresh flatbread. Probably a little bit of black pepper on top. And we're also going to do some lemon zest as well. So, there you go. It's a beautiful flatbread with our Mike's Hot Honey Mustard, Brussels sprouts, fresh ricotta, and some butternut squash. So what we're also going to do with the next one is we're going to put our Mike's Hot Honey Mustard directly into the ricotta. We're going to stir this up. It's just another way to kind of play around with it, right? And that we are going to spread all out on our flatbread as well. You can never have too much of this at all. And then some of our butternut squash and our Brussels sprout leaves and our lemon zest. Again, just two different ways to kind of incorporate that in there. Maybe even a little bit of this right on top of it. Again, you can never have too much of this stuff. It is like, it's amazing. So, awesome. So thank you so much for joining me today to talk about our amazing new Mike's Hot Honey Mustard. Mike's Hot Honey Dijon, actually. And it's absolutely, again, killer. Think of it as a honey mustard that has a little bit of extra bite to it. It's going to add a little bit of spice, but it's not so spicy that you're not going to be able to enjoy it. If you happen to play around with it, please let us know. Let us know what you're doing with it. It's great on sandwiches, charcuterie boards, flatbreads, pizza. Great with wings. Dip chicken tenders into it. I mean, the sky is really the limit whenever it comes to this amazing product from two amazing companies. So again, we look forward to hearing how you're playing with it, when you're playing with it, and what you're doing with it. Everybody, enjoy your holidays. I'll see you here next week. And again, have some amazing, amazing food. All right, talk to you soon. Thank you so much.